All right, everyone. KJ Smith here, assistant coach with Basket Unifacisa in the first division of Brazil, known as the NBB. And today we're going to be looking at the Brazilian triple post concept. I think it's an action that can be really effective at all levels. I think it's a great way to incorporate everyone on your roster. And I think it's just different than what you see in today's game. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first option in the triple post is looking for the back door. Now, what's important to note here is that we don't want to just go off of this pin down early on in the offense, especially because what you see a lot of teams do is after this pin down, no one else moves, the offense completely dies. Maybe there's sort of a half effort split cut here, and it leaves you with one-on-one. What we want to do is put pressure on the rim. So it's going to be back door, or it'll be a curl around before we move into the next option. So against any type of deny or chasing over the top, this is where you throw the back door. So the next option out of this, if you don't want the back door, is to curl around the rim. And again, we want to put pressure on the rim early and often. Now against teams that chase, this is what you'll do. Now, some teams, when they see screen the screener situations like this, they will switch this defender and they will send him to run off with this guy, and then he will X out to the corner. Now, the reason you would do this is if this defender was late because he was helping on the cross screen, right? So in this situation, either he chases or he switches. We still want to curl to the rim with the advantage. Now, in this action, you're going to see why it's so important to put pressure on the rim every single possession. The reason being is this cut, this backdoor cut or this curl, we have to draw this defender in. Once we draw this defender, we always look for the weak side pin down, right? Most often after this cut, your big is going to want to pop and touch the ball and shoot the pull up or the three or whatever. And that's fine once in a while. But the majority of the time, we want to get this pin down immediately after the curl because it's just such a long distance to defend. Now, as I said, sometimes you will come off that pin down, and immediately after that, we always look to rescreen. So this first example is what we call roll and replace. Okay, and specifically it works well against teams that play hard hedge. So you'll see here, we're gonna lift up this big and he'll set a flare here. You don't have to. You can also just roll and lift this guy up behind the roll. And this works well against hard hedge because off to this lift, now we've got 2 against 1 with this corner defender. You can also run the same concept as a sideline inbounds. Now after this curl, this is your 4 catching it on the curl. If you don't take the back door, everything else would be the same, right? We would get a back door, a curl, and a weak side pin down for this guy. Now in this situation, you're running it from the baseline. And if you don't get the post up, we just go into a spread repick. This time we go into what I call a spread deuce pick and roll. Now in the spread deuce, it's just a fancy way to say that you're attacking the side with 2 players. So in this situation, again, after all pin downs, rescreen again, right? Any offense, no matter what system you run, as soon as you come off a pin down and you don't have a shot, turn around and screen again. It's a really good way to create an advantage. This time we attract the hard hedge. We've got 2 guys about to space out on this side of the floor. And now at this point, the guard has done his job. Once this guard draws a second defender, you don't have to do anything else. Don't have to create, turn the corner, because you just have to read 1 defender. If this defender stays out, maybe you have a roll. If the defender stays in, you throw the backside lift here. Here's a similar situation, though this time off of the pin down, you're going to go in what's called a spread ace, where you're attacking the single side. And attacking the single side is a really good way to open up the floor if you've got a really good penetrating guard. But you have to understand what you're attacking. In this example, the advantage is going to be in this open space here, right? The drive and kick game, because this guy has to chase over. It's very, very dangerous to go under the pin down and then under the screen again. So you need to create an advantage attacking the over. And now we can play the drive and kick game, look for the shooter in the corner. You can also run it out of horns, which is a really popular alignment, and you'll get the same set going. So the way this set works, on this dribble over, this post, in this case the 4, would be setting a sort of a flex screen for this guard to curl around, wait a moment to look for the cut, and if not, continue on to the top. Now, one thing we haven't talked about yet is what does this player do, right? Generally speaking, you always hear, oh, you gotta move, you gotta move, you gotta move. In this situation, you don't have to teach this guy to move. Here's why. Post has the ball, playing quarterback. These 3 are automatically involved in a weak side action. This player only has to make one of 2 things after this post pass. Either he relocates to the corner if this defender helps down, or he can step back even further towards the 4-point line, NBA line, if you can imagine it. Now, if nothing breaks up, you can hand off up here, you can step into your shot, which is a better on-balance shot, and you play from there. So that is a very short breakdown of the Brazilian triple post. I would be more than happy to share this video with you, to talk hoops, to explain it more in detail, maybe show how it fits your team as well. So feel free to contact me on Twitter at KJ the Scout or via email kjthescout@outlook.com. And I'll see you guys later.